So let's set the scene here, guys. I'm at Vale Farm Fishery. I'm going to be using some swim feeders, just sort of medium distance, no need to dry them out long distance. But what a day, it's a scorcher, blazing hot, plenty of people here, bank holidays, one of those days that I would normally avoid like the plague, but I've got about 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon. It's now, well, check for yourself guys, it's nearly 3:15. I've got a little bit of ground bait, going to be only using the head cam. I can see carp all over the surface, so I know it might be tough, because if they're on the surface you would have field down, floating crust, dog biscuits, fly fishing, which they do allow here, fly fishing as well. But I mean, you won't, well, you might see the carp. There's a big bunch over there just cruising around, which to me, in order to make them stop, would either be a piece of floating crust, but then you've got to take into account the duck over the back, a couple of ducks there. When they're cruising like that, I think pellet waggler, where you feed the pellets in at a constant speed and try and get them on the float. But at the current time I'm on a swim feeder, but boys, it's no ordinary swim feeder. Let me show you, these are homemade ones. Ah, dear, let's sit down and fall down. It's one of those days, you know, when you just sit in the sunshine and it's so nice after a long winter and a cold spring that you actually sort of almost don't want to have the trouble of winding anything in. So what I've got, look, ground bait, here we go, regular ground bait. Got some pellets in there, got some of the standard 4mm coarse pellets as well, some bran, some of the Bailey's feed, just regular old ground bait. It's quite stiff, because initially I was thinking I'm going to do a bit of distance cast in the middle, but there's so many fish moving around in this hot baking sun that, you know, I don't think I'm going to gain anything. It's prime floater fishing really here. I've got to try and pick off something, if I can, on the bottom first. Wait till you see the feeders this guy sent me. They're homemade. They're made out of, wait for this, golf balls. No, not the size of the golf ball. They're made out of an entire practice ball. Have you seen these before? They're actually, this one's split in 2 halves. Get it together. It goes like that together. And he's cut them in half. They're like an air ball that you use golfing. You can whack them really hard. They don't go very fast to practice golfing. And I used to play golf. Probably hit these farther than I could the real ball. So he's cut them in half, right? Then he's got a weight down in there. You see the weight? And he's put a cylinder of, well, rigid plastic. So I can fish that, let's put that one there, as an inline. He's got several here, look. Let me just show you what they look like. A little dab of, I guess that looks like araldite to stop that sliding through. And I'm going to give these a go, because that is about one of the most weirdest things I've ever seen. Look, he's actually written on them there. You can see that there, 15, so I guess that's 15 grams. 10 grams is that? 10 grams, let's have a... My age and my skin's so tough I can't really feel any difference, but I can't pick up 5 grams of difference. I bought these, I did think that, now that's definitely a heavier one, but it doesn't actually say the weight on it. It does, well, it does 25, so I guess that's 25 grams. So they're an inline feeder made from a plastic golf ball, practice golf ball, and I think that's a really brilliant idea of making up some really cheap feeders. Of course, I haven't caught anything on them yet. First trip out, first sortie out, and I'm going to try and feed, you know, quite liberally with them. And I'm about 3 rod lengths out at the moment. And we'll give it a go and see if we can't pick, say, maybe a bream. I don't think the carp are going to go on the bottom, it's too hot, it's baking. But I think it might be a chance, maybe a bream later in the afternoon. So this is what I'm using. So I've been using them about a couple of casts just to see how they cast, like out in the middle. They go miles. But what I do notice, they come up really fast on the surface. You might be able to skimming across the surface, so they come up quite quickly. They might be handy in a sort of snaggy area. And you can see, I'll just show you here. Let's put that down. Look, see, I'm straight on my reel line, straight through. I'm not using any hook links. It's sliding straight up and down like this. Got a swivel there. And then I've got about 8 inches. I could fish it with a hook really close, almost like a sort of method feeder style there. And I've got there a banded pellet. Actually, let me put one on, because I know we've got viewers from around the world and they might not all know what a banded pellet is. Okay, so here's my hook, just on there. These bands come in little boxes of, I don't know what they'd be in there, probably 100, I guess, something like that. Take a band out. Always remember where you put those. Sneeze. Excuse me. Put the band onto the end of this little machine here. See it? It's an expander. So the ring of the pellet, right, goes over there. You stretch it, it stretches a pellet, you put the pellet inside, release it, the band grips it, you hold the band in place and just slide it off like that. Make sure you put the band where you can find it, and you simply, now some people go through the band itself, I don't bother, just go under the band. A lot of times you get the same band back, and make sure it's right in the middle of the pellet. So that is, if you can see that there guys, hopefully you can, banded pellet. And I just get some ground bait here, squeeze it into the golf ball. And the last couple of casts I've made, although the practice cast at distance, I'm now going to start feeding a bit more accurate. I put a little bit around the outside of the holes. It does in fact empty out. So there's the golf ball, half a golf ball. And I'm just going to lob it underhand, 3 rod lengths out. I guess it's what, 7 feet, something like 7 feet there. Now I give it 1 jerk, 2 jerks. That just gets a little bit of bait out. I'll show you why on this next cast. I put it down, I've got the back wind on. I'm fishing them very high, just purely because I like fishing them high. And I'll show you on this other one what I like doing. Now it skims in across the surface really well. So I think for snags, could be good. I don't know about rivers, I haven't tried it on rivers, the first outing with it. Let's fill this one up as well. You can see it's coming empty, even though this is quite thick. Quite a stiff mix, this one. But what I do is, you imagine, you cast out, you can imagine this in your head, guys, it hits the water, this is the weight, it goes down, there's the weight underneath it, see? So it goes down like this, it's pulling the bait down with it, like this, bump, so this will sit like on top there, which leaves you a lot of slack. So by doing 1 or 2 bumps, so the first bump straightens the link out like this, so it's nice hook link, and also some of this crumbs come across on the lake bed there. You give it another jerk, it pulls it all along, and bits that are crumbled off here, your pellet is lying in a little trail here. If you can imagine that. You can try it in shallow water, that if you can see in the water, you'll on a clear lake bed, you'll be able to see how it works. But I always do that, I don't just let it sit, I like to bump it once or twice on the initial cast. Let's get that one out. So I'm not going far. It's basically going to be trying to bait up a bit of a swim in the same area there. I'm only looking for 1 or 2 fish just to see if that feeder does work. Even if it doesn't, I might come back tomorrow afternoon, bump once, bump twice, put it down. So I've got it in here, if you can see that there. So my bite indicator. At the top I can see the quiver tip, should it go, you'll be able to see the bite like that. And I've got it on what they call back wind, so I've taken the anti-reverse off the reel, so if a big fish grabs it and pulls that rod top down at this range, it doesn't disappear into the lake. There we go. Check those, yep, they're both good. And now I can see I've put my bait here, that's what I wanted to show you. Another totally awesome tip here, guys. If you get pellets with oil, or if you've got a trout pellet or anything like that, if you keep some in the sun, because it's very hot today, you'll see they glisten. So what I do is I try and keep in the shade, just keep a few, say down here, like that, in my ground bait ready for hook baits, and they will what I call sweat, and the oil will come out there. I don't know whether you're going to see it with this camera because I've only got the head cam today, and it will glisten, shiny, and I feel that oil comes off on the surface, and I feel they can smell it better. So there you go, little tip for you. A few pellets in there, keep them, you know, say in the cool, and keep a few out if it's hot weather. I feel it, that one particularly is really, if you're going to see that there, really, really glistening. That's the oil coming out of it. All we do now is a fish. people got fish on. He's not very big, you can tell by the bend in the rod. Most of that is a quiver tip. Well, he's kicking now. Just gone back. Well, I would put on back wind as well, just in case. So I've got the reels dragged there. I'll put it on back wind. If it's a big fish, I can let it go like this. So it can just release very quickly. Oh, it's bream. It just goes. I caught bream on a golf ball feeder. Can you believe it? Get that net. There we go. Well, that's a first for me. I haven't got it yet. There we go. Not a big fish, but listen. Get in, get in, get in. He's in. And look at these beautiful flowers. I mean, there we go. There's the pellet. You can see the pellet there. Barbless hook falls out. And there you go. What a backdrop. Nice little bream. Caught on half a golf ball feeder. So thanks very much for that guy who sent us those. They must know that I will try absolutely anything. Well, once at least. I'm going to be using this one more than once. There he goes. Second fish on, guys. Looks like a much bigger bream. Now they do get some really jumbo bream in here. I think they go to 8 pounds. I've never seen anything like that here. But I've got a fish on now. By the bend in the rod. It's a decent one. And that was again. I haven't had to change baits yet. I'm still on that same pallet, but it's a bigger bream. That's more like it. That's more like it. Get in. There we go. Let's take a look at this one. And that one is. Turn him around, you can see a bit better feel. Smack me in the face. A much bigger bream. Well, good little session. For an experimental one with those feeders. Well, let's face it, the guy wouldn't have made them all, would he, if they didn't work? Presumably that's why he made so many. They do work. One thing about bream, always take a rag to wipe the slime off. Yuck. Well, I've lost a couple more bream. Just bumped off really close. I'll try coming in a bit closer. But you know, here is a tip. If you don't want to move the feeder and you want to adjust that tension down there on the quiver tip, you can do it here by just adjusting, backing off the spool itself, and that will slacken the tip. Or if you indeed you want to put a bit more tension on a windy day, oof, missed that one on the camera trying to show you guys, you can actually adjust. Let's get this out first. Not to have a bait in the water while I'm talking. I keep missing them. I might be taking this feeder off because I'm getting the takes, and the feed must be down there now, and it's patently obvious the feeders do work. And just try a 3-line bait down there. I've got it really in close. When you want to sort of refine the quiver tip, as it were, that's what I'm going to call it. Let's just get it tensioned up. Right, as a for instance, if I want to tension that quiver tip up there now, I do it, instead of turning the handle, which might have a different gear ratio, in other words, one movement might be too much and pull it right round, and it pulls the bait out of position, I just turn this gently, like this, and that in turn just puts a very slight tension and just a slight bow in the quiver tip. If you don't want a lot of tension on there because the fish might feel it, you just want enough to indicate like this. In fact, I'm going to come back on that just here. Now you can see the quiver tip straight. Well, in all honesty, I've dropped about 3 bream, yeah, quite nice ones, 3-4 pounders, in quite close, and I'm wondering, let me show you, if a slight drawback, where have I put them, in these feeders is in fact the length from there to there. Oh, just missed another pull round. That's you, that's Smith at the back again. Honestly, that Smith cost me some fish every time I look away. Tip was like this, bang. Now I won't be able to look at the camera properly. But you see what I mean? There's a lot of friction from here to there, an acute angle. I suppose in retrospect, if I was to make one myself, I'd want to put a swivel coming out the top, so the line goes straight through the swivel eye off the top. Oh, I'm missing so many fish. That's about 6. That's about 5 or 6. So what I'm thinking is they're feeling a bit of resistance between here and here. Now I've had those breams, so we know it works. And look, I would have hooked that fish if I hadn't been messing around with the camera. But I think maybe an alternative method of putting a swivel, just come up here so the line runs through the top, will be a better way and reduce all this friction of about 3 inches. So just to see if I can hook a fish, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to barely free line a pellet with just say a BB shot there and see if I do start to pick a fish off. Just my theory. When you look at it, it works. We know it works, but hang on, that's a 4, 5, 6 fish missed. Let's try something different, guys, see if we can't make an adaptation of this. And if it does, maybe I'll drill here, glue a swivel in the top and saw those 2 bits off. Anyway, I'll try free line and see if we pick one more fish up for you. Wow, that seemed to work swimmingly, guys. I wonder if it is that resistance, but this, by the bend in the rod, does not actually feel like a bream. As you can see, I have it. Well, maybe it's a bream and half the branch. I can see a branch going through the water there. Whether it's still got, there's something twanging around there, most peculiar. Wow, let's keep him out of the snags again. That is, what is that? I know it's a carp. Oh my God, OMG. That looks like a chunk. Try and turn him over, keeping that rod down. I don't know if the branch did come up with him, but it certainly feels like there's something twanging down there as well. So I can't make this one out. Whether the fish has got a branch or a twig around it, I don't know. It's a most peculiar fight. I see it as a carp. A major bend in the rod. I'm trying to keep turning him over. He wants that snag, he wants that bush up there, big time. Let's have a look at it, I just want to see it. What I can't do a thing with him. Trying to keep him in the middle of the swim. Big swell down there. That shows me his tail is a decent size. I wonder if it's a foul hook fish actually. He's not like going anywhere, but it's fighting a bit like a tuna, straight up and down. Take my mind off it a while. Look at these lovely pretty flowers, aren't they lovely? Lovely, aren't they? Stop me worrying about the line breaking, the hook pulling. He's just got that ping ability about it that I think something's going to go. Got a lot of pressure on there, hand pressure as well, on the blank. Smacks of a foul hook fish somehow. Just can't do a thing with it. What the heck is this fish? There's just the occasional weird twang that comes off it. Okay, I'm going to switch the camera off, guys. That's a huge fish. It's a huge carp. It's a really big one. Big common. Big common. I'm sure he's going in the net. Oh man. Got him in. Oh man. Wackadoo, guys, look at that one. That is one fat. Why did he get up? There's the hook. The hook's in his mouth, right in the scissors. Oh, he's wrapped around the fin. No, he's right in the scissors. Hook's out. And that fish is a superb looking common of about, you people tell me, 12-ish, I would say. Around about 12 pounds. I told him that way. Hopefully you can see him there, that lovely sunshine. Oh, that's a big guy. Yes, about might go 13. That one. That is a good fish. Oh yeah, magnificent tail on it. Look at that tail. Let's get it back. If you're going to hold still, would be nice. That feeling you might be naughty. £10, 2 ounces, and that was on the feeder. Come on, boy. 2 double figure fish, 2 bream. I lost about 4 bream in 3.5 hours. Great fishing. Really pleased to get this. But you know what? I think I'm going to come back and try this surface. A lot of fish moving on the surface, and a slow sinking pellet might do the job there. Great to use a different feeder. Something different. The golf ball feeder works. Thanks very much to the guy that sent it to us. I feel it's going to be used again. Right, well, I'm back at the same swim. You can prove that because down there are the same flowers. And the time it is, folks, 20 to 3. I just literally cast out the waggler float. A couple of bites on it. I think I might have pricked one fish. A lot more anglers. Even hotter today, they're giving about 25 degrees. And what I've done is feed some biscuits out there and some bread. And we just see if we can't get something on the waggler float. Maybe a foot or 2 deep, or even right off the surface. It's just a hunch I've got. And of course, today, I come down, I can see hardly any on the surface. I'm sure they're going to come up later on. There's a lot of anglers here, so that probably puts them down, as well as, you know, the fact that it's very hot. There's a little bit of a breeze, so I might be able to start with the bread and the floating biscuits going across there, maybe not too far out. The big thing to do is not to catapult too far out, and then the wind takes the biscuits out of your casting range with your float. My waggler float is just over there. I've got it with a piece of bread flake on at the moment, about 3 feet down, but I will shallow it up. I'm just waiting to see if there's going to be any surface action. So I might concentrate on the one rod, and I might just put a shotgun rod down the corner here again, because the 2 fish I did get last night, the bigger sizes, were closer in. There's a fish just moved over there, if you can see that. So a lot of people just chilling in the sunshine. There's one taken off the surface that might be worth me throwing that waggler float at. I'll show you how I've got the crust floating and hooked up. Okay, people, let's see if I can show you what I'm doing. Pretty well standard it is. A waggler float, if I hold it that way, you can see it's at a slight angle there. Hopefully that camera's about right. So it's self-loading there. Got the valve rubber to pinch it, and I've got a little shot there, so if I do cast it hard it won't slide. Shot's down to about there. I don't want to shot it right down because I'm going to be changing different weights of bread. If I've got some, you know, big piece of wet bread on there, it's going to pull it right under and I won't be able to see the bite. Line's going straight all the way through. I've got a little shot there holding it. Just pinch that one tight. So small I can barely see it. Don't bite so hard that it fractures your line. And there we've got, what, 3 feet. I've got just regular sliced bread, but you can see, rather than just break it up in pieces, the crust here is the only good bit that's for floating, so I don't cut too close to the crust. I leave a little bit of fluffy white bread there, like this. I take the edges off. With a pair of scissors, I just find it's neater and it casts better. Now you can use this squeezed and put on the hook, say, like that, about that size piece of flake. Just pinch it once around the eye of the hook and that should hold it on. Or for the pieces of crust, if it's got a little bit of a hinge there, see that little hinge, I don't put the hook in there, I cut the hinge out, turn it around. That's the piece I want, that piece there. Let's put it on the hook for you. Okay, now for a longer piece like this, I can go through 3 times. I go through once, don't tear at the hook, just thread it so it goes through loose like that. Again, and just bring it around, bend it slightly flat, if that makes sense, and that should hang perfectly flat like that. You can wet it to give you a bit of an extra weight, but of course you risk it flying off the hook. Just heave it out there. Don't forget the float's weighted anyway. Now you can watch the bread go, and you can strike, should you have it flat enough like this to be able to see the fish closes its mouth around the bread. If you don't, you put the rod down, put it in the buzzer here like this. If you want, that's fine. And of course, should they take that bread and I don't see the actual bread disappear, I've got the float which will go under. But the one thing with floater fishing you want to do is watch all the time, because A, you will miss a bite, and B, you don't want any birds on there. So you've got plenty of time to pull it away from the birds. Now this is drifting left to right. So the next lot of feed which I'm going to catapult up there, I'm going to put way up to the left and allow for it drifting. Otherwise all that happens is it drifts all the way down the right and the anglers in the corner there have phenomenal fishing at my expense. Just keep pace with it there and try and move it only once. Just going to put it in the buzzer like that. Because I'm filming and looking away. Now you can also fish that with a piece of flake and sinking, but first you've got to find out which area the carp are in there when they're moving. And what I've got here is some dog biscuits that Mike gave me that his dog Jax doesn't like, so I scalded them with a bit of water, not too much, just covered them, and they should float hopefully. There's a fish just rose out there, beyond my bait obviously. You can leave them in the sun if you make them too wet, and then I'll just show you these down there. 1, 2, 3 sink and 7 are floating on the top. That's okay. They cost me nothing. What else tips have we got? You can get these Matchman's catapults which are very, very soft and flexible. Can you see that? This bends there. It's really for maggots and for gentle sort of accurate casting. So you can put 2, 3 or 4 in there and you've got a little tag in there. Try not to hold the knot, try to hold the tag in and just ping it out until you find the distance you want. As I say, there's no point in catapulting it too far out that you can't reach the fish. As you can see, it goes out there, no problem at all. And of course the benefit of floater fishing is you just basically just sit back and wait till you see something come up. Possibly this time in the afternoon, I'll be surprised, the odd fish moving around. And I think the evening time they should start coming up. One right in front of me. Big fish down there guys, just down there. Big fish. That was a good sized double figure fish then guys. Just coming up there, and that's why it makes me want to put some ground bait down here. In this corner, sink a piece of flake there. Just leave it, I think I might do that. Got my second rod there, but I've got it with regular floater on there. Well guys, the hunch to fish down by that bush with a 3-line bait. First cast a piece of bread, I haven't even put any ground bait down there. Fish on, small bream. And fish down the back there, I don't know if you're going to see that moving on the surface. Let's see if we can get this guy in. No, there we go, it's not a big fish, we know, but it's a bream. It's a bream, it's a start, isn't it? I've got a feeling there might be a big carp coming up later on down this right hand side, just down the corner here, there's bits of crust star. Right, I'll put another piece out there I think. So here's what I'm doing, see a big piece of flake like this, fold it once, fold it twice, then I hook through that fold, bring the hook out like there, push it back into the flake, but I only pinch around the eye because it goes very doughy this bread. I dip it once and I just basically just swing it out there. I've got one shot on there, which is less than a BB I think. So there's barely anything, there's no resistance at all really for them. You've got to be careful doing this, you don't get taken on the way down on the drop, what they call it, on the drop. That's on the bottom. Put it in the setup down here. Got a very, very light bob in there. Just a little piece of a spine from a book. Clips around the line, like this, I'll show you. I'll put it near the buzzer, and that way it pulls the wheel down onto the buzzer. Man, I thought there was a fish on there then. When I went to pull it down, I felt the fish there. They might have had the bread off, I don't know. So that's a way of just getting a bonus fish. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, with the float rod, I wouldn't get a second cast out of that. It's going to flick off if you watch. Comes straight off, so put a fresh piece on. I'm getting bites on this inside rod all the time on that bread flake. So I'm going to try one cast well out. Just dip it once. And basically just toss it through the air, don't cast too hard. See, that's got about 30 yards. I'm just going to put it in the buzzer, probably there. And I put the buzzer at an angle as well. So, if I do happen to look away, I'm looking or I'm filming for something else. If I do happen to look away and I'm filming for something else, I miss seeing the float go under, at least I've got the buzzer as a backup. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw that one down there. I didn't see the fish, but I saw the swirl. Right, let's get some bait in. A little bit of sloppy bait. I think that down here, just close. Just to get them on the feed a bit. Actually, this is left over from last night. I didn't bother feeding it, you see there? That's just the regular pellets left over from yesterday's session here. So you can fish two ways, one with the float out deep and one close in here. Oh boys, got another bream close in here on that bread. Had 2 or 3 really fast takes. Had nothing on the top, so the guys fly fishing around here. Haven't seen them catch anything yet, but you can get carp off the top. And there we have. There you go. Nice bream on bread flake, just 1 BB on the bottom. I'm glad I came back a second evening. Ultra lightweight bobbing. Getting a better take in this tough conditions. Shorten that up a bit. That's it, all set. The wave floats out there. I've got quite a bit of bread drifting out there, but a lot of inactivity on the surface at the moment. Well, I think if the fish aren't feeding, I think I should be. Bananas now, guys. If you had a banana and I was sea fishing out in one of my mate's boats or my boat, it's generally not looked on as favourable. Banana's supposed to be bad luck. I think it's due to banana boats' cargo shifting when they came across from the Caribbean. But I'll tell you what banana is good for, other than Graham's tummy, it's fish, carp. We used to carp fish with banana. In fact, I might even try cut a few segments off and just try them on the inside there and the bottom and see if the bream like it as well. There should only be my piece left out there to eat. Into the glare, I normally like to. Over there, I'm trying to keep the bait into those dark areas. But as I say, I have got the float on, so yeah, fish is still there. Or a fish is still there. I lose sight of the bread over there. All I do is I watch that float and just strike on any movement of the float. I've probably got 2 wet. They're sinkers, but they're still going to get eaten out there. Well, the old carp seem a bit hard on the surface, but the bream are coming, and here is what I want to call, if you guys can see this, that's an unusual one, guys. A banana bream on a tiny piece of banana. Not a big fish, fun fish, a couple of pounds or so, but you know, on a banana, there can't be many anglers using that for bait, that's for sure. I'm going to try that bit. I've got a piece of banana, just going to go through a sort of quarter segment once, just let it rest there. Take my bobbin off because there's not much weight to a banana, obviously. 3-line banana with one, well, it's not even a BB that shot. Let's get that out a little bit farther. Bream on the go on the inside, but up on the surface, where I thought I would get the action, nothing yet, and all the other anglers do actually seem pretty quiet. In fact, I haven't seen a fish caught. 10 anglers. Just the way it is. That's what they call it. Fishing and not catching. And again guys, quadrant of banana. I did say the bream will like it because they got a sweet tooth. In fact, I wish I hadn't eaten all the banana now. I've just got a few. I've only got 2 baits left. Here he comes. I plastered the surface with peel meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Peel meet again. Sad, I've been up in the sun too long. Well, I've had 10 of bream, and I've actually got them on the drop now, free line in touch ledgering, and I've got a fish now taken off the top, so I'm guessing it's a small carp the way it's going. So 10 bream's pretty good, and some of those are on banana. I'm guessing this is a small carp. Really scrappy little carp. It's going well, and that's the waggle float there. You might not be able to see it. What a superb day, even if the fishing is a bit tough. Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Easy, right in. Here we go. Chunky little fish. Seeing yesterday, oh, bream rather than carp. I mean, there was carp mixed in with them, of course there are. But I just had a feeling it would be on the drop, say 2 feet down, 3 feet down. I don't know if it's the heat that's bringing them up. So just fishing a slow sinking piece of bread flake like that, but you've really got to watch the float. This is when the fish should get bites. I missed it again. Maybe I need a smaller piece of bread. Let's just check this out. Just a small. I'm just going to use like a single piece of flake there, guys. Roll it around. Nip it there sort of flat, if that makes sense. Let's try that. Just dip it once. Yeah, there's a fish there. But I think they're all bream. We'll find out. I'm on straight away to camera. Straight away to camera. The line's not peeling off the reel, so you'll gather it is a bream. It might even be a skimmer. I'll skim him across the top. Lift him. And there we have it. The culprit, number 11. There's the smallest one I've had all day, to be honest. You can see the ripples they make out there. I'm going to try this. I had a bite then, I'm pretty sure I had a bite. As soon as that float hit the stuff, there we go. My God. 12 bream. And that was my hunch yesterday, was the fact that they would be taken on the drop. About 2 feet down the way they were cruising. Is that the bailiff? That's the rat hunter. I think I better net this one. That's a bit bigger. Yes, that's a bigger one. There you go, guys. All day long, by watching those fish cruising and adapting. Another method that will work here, I feel, is called bread punch, whereby using very small pieces of bread. Now I just think that would go pretty well here, and of course, obviously maggots. Just going to watch that float. You guys won't see it go under, I don't expect. Now, that is actually out of different. Oh, there is a bite on it. No, tell a lie. But it's outside where I threw the crust. I missed him. Well, people, I finally got a decent bream, which is what I was after. This is a nice one. I mean, they go in here to about. Somebody said they'd seen 7-pounders. This isn't 7 pound, obviously, but it's the biggest one of the day by far. Caught float fishing on the drop Wowie. That's a nice bream, guys. Beautiful evening. Couldn't ask for any more. I've had about 20 now, but this is by far the biggest one. So listen, let's get this guy back. Thanks for watching. It's a totally awesome fishing show. Don't forget to watch Mike's Tea Outdoors. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the little bell you got there as well. And we'll see you with another film, hopefully. Lots more things like this.